Invest in Africa is an initiative that aims to inspire more businesses to work in partnership with local African companies to grow markets and deliver enterprise. They recently forged an innovative partnership with English Premiership team Sunderland to promote awareness of the huge global audiences and the opportunities and benefits of doing business on the continent. Against the backdrop of this weekend's Africa Cup of Nations, we look at sport as a vehicle for investment in Africa with Will Pollen. He's the Program Director of Invest Africa. Will, thank you so much for joining us. You're talking to us from our London studios, of course. A very interesting initiative using sport as a vehicle to increase business opportunities through the vast markets that are in Africa. Take us through what the Sunderland Club has done and what kind of reaction it has garnered, back in the UK.
Hi Karima, it's a pleasure to be with you. Well, it's been a huge start for us. Sunderland represented a fantastic opportunity, a club with global ambitions like our own, and also taking their first steps into Africa. So in many respects, they represented the perfect partner for Invest in Africa. Through that vehicle, we've managed to reach the 300 million odd Africans who watch Premier League football every week, and 4.7 billion global audience. So it's been an incredible way of promoting our message from day one and demonstrating the commitment that Invest in Africa wants to make to the continent and to driving new investors into Africa. The sort of things we've been working with the club on are both local and international initiatives. We've been looking for investors in the northeast around the club's region and those that might work in Africa. And we've also been working on a more international basis through forums and events here in London. And in the coming months and years, we'll be taking those into Africa themselves and looking to host events more in the central markets.
Now, take us through the kind of markets that you are interested in and the sectors that you are interested in. Africa is rich in mineral resources. Of course, that is the big kind of draw card to the continent. Oil, gold, platinum, diamonds, and so on. What are the kinds of areas in the economy that you are looking to drive investment in?
Well, Invest in Africa is investment agnostic. We want to see growth across the board, and we're working with firms who share that vision and who see Africa as a long-term growth story across the board. And that's what's so exciting for us, and the message we're telling investors is that Africa's growth and its predicted growth is not just one sector, it's diverse across all sectors, from retail to telecoms to financial services and infrastructure. For day one for us, we are focusing on the investment into areas of infrastructure, telecoms, and those support services that directly relate to those areas. So we're working very closely with other firms in those spaces and looking to build a platform that will inspire new investors and also help those firms already in Africa who share common objectives, common challenges, to identify local firms to work with, increase the amount of local partners that they do business with.
Now, what are the most common myths about doing business in Africa that you have to debunk when you're trying to encourage investors to look at Africa as a growth region?
Well, the most common ones, sadly, are the typical ones, and amongst us, the sort of investment community, we feel there's a real buzz and a real growth story around Africa. But when you step out of that, particularly here in the Western Europe, and you speak to North American investors, very much there's still a lot of mindsets set 10, 15, even 20 years ago, looking at Africa as a problem and not a credible place to do business, and they already perceive it, and it's very much perception-driven as behind other emerging markets. And Invest in Africa is here to offer a more balanced and fair opinion, and to demonstrate that actually in many respects African markets represent a very credible alternative to many of the BRIC or other emerging markets today, especially when compared on their individual merits. And we must remember that Africa is not a place, it is not one country, it is a continent, and we wouldn't normally look at Asia as one place. We would look at investment opportunities in China or India or Brazil, and likewise with Africa. When you start to look at the individual opportunities, you realize that in many instances they compare very favorably with other emerging markets.
Now, of course, soccer is something that binds people from all over the world, from different backgrounds. A very interesting initiative using a Premier Soccer team to drive the initiative. Take us through, what was it about this, to use soccer as a vehicle to drive this investment, and to what extent has it been, an added value to use this as a way to get people interested in a continent like Africa?
Well, soccer's a great vehicle. I mean, you see what other associations do through football, whether it be the Qataris with Barcelona, but for us it was about that global reach and making a big impact and reaching a huge audience from day one, and that was why we went with football. And the vehicle has been hugely successful for us. Every weekend we're reaching 300 million Africans, and as a result of it we are now in dialogue with investors, with local firms who our investors can partner with, and that's largely been driven by the awareness of football. So that's been a huge success for us, and going forward we see ourselves as working very closely with all the partners that come to us, whether they be through football or other mediums.